Traditionally, the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship has been all about muscle, with Camaros and Mustangs dominating the grid. But for 2018, it's muscle with a European flair, as GT4 machinery makes its US debut. Reigning champion Lawson Aschenbach is back in his GT4 Camaro, but he faces off against a huge field of Audis, McLarens, Mercedes and more. The Grand Prix of Texas at Circuit of the Americas is next.
Well, Jeff Lepper along with Calvin Fish join you. We'll have Ryan Marine down on pit lane here for the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas at Circuit of the Americas, and Calvin GTS competition Sprint X making its debut in the Points Championship in 2018.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We certainly had a great race here yesterday, and following up today, just to go over the rules, between the 25 and 35 minute mark is a mandatory pit stop. Essentially, it's just for a driver change. However, if you are in GTS, you can elect to not do a driver change. No tire change, but today, looking at that racetrack as damp, we could see guys switching from rains over to slicks during that pit stop window today.
Well, welcome everyone here to the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas here at Circuit of the Americas, this beautiful purpose-built Formula One facility, now 5 years old. And to give a chance for everyone to see what this track is made up, onto our Porsche track preview.
So Michael Christensen here driving the 911 GT3R Porsche for Allegro Motorsports on Circuit of the Americas. Coming up down the start and finish straight up to the first corner on the left-hand corner. Very bumpy braking zone, very slow left-hander. So really important to stop the car well on these bumps. Very difficult to get it right, to be honest. Use all the road and the track width in order to get a good flow through the next right-hander, which is quite bumpy, and all of this is just kind of a flow. Very important to get a flow through these S's, high-speed S's, very bumpy as well, quite hard to get it right. And then, yeah, just missing the apex will really harm you on the lap time, so really important to get all the apexes here and use all the track width possible without getting a penalty for running wide. Coming down to a really important corner here, really slow left-hander. The reason why it's really important is that it's slow speed, and therefore there's a lot of time to lose and gain there, and especially coming off onto a very long back stretch. So it's really important to carry the speed with you down the straight, and then leading up to a next left-hander, really hard braking zone and really slow corner. Just trying to keep the momentum through and get the apex. And then next right-hand corner here, also really slow, really difficult to get on the power due to the characteristic of the corner, keeps turning. Next corner is also like kind of a double left-hander, really slow corner. Important to get on the power early here, down to this next triple right-hand corner. Very bumpy, especially in the exit, so it's quite tough to keep on the throttle here. But very important to line yourself up onto the second last corner on the track here. Use all the track width inside and outside. And then last corner, carry the momentum through, and early on power down the start and finish straight is very important for lap time. So that was one lap with Michael Christensen on COTA Raceway.
Well, Cal, it's also a great track, but also kind of a roller coaster.
It really is. A lot of elevation change, particularly at that 130-foot elevation up into turn one, into that brake zone. But you can see the bumps that are developed here, and they're going to actually do some grinding over the next few weeks.
Well, let's get down to the front of our grid with Ryan Marine for our command to start engines.
Thanks very much, Jeff. It is just about time for that command to start engines. Here joining us gridside is David Treadwell from Amazon e-commerce to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Well, good stuff there as all these machines fire up as they get ready to go. GTS Sprint X competition, Cal, and talk about this grid, some of the cars that are here.
Well, certainly the front two rows, you can see it right there. 4 BMW's M4 GT4 machine. So certainly in terms of pace yesterday, the grid today is set from your fast lap from race 1, so they certainly had the pace in the race yesterday. Can they hold on to it over a long 60-minute duration of race here? Weather is a big concern for everyone. It looks like it's drying out, Greg, and certainly everyone should be up to speed.
Well, let's look at some of these storylines. We talked about what had happened yesterday, but wow, the weather a little different today.
Yeah, and I tell you what, about 30 minutes ago, everyone was thinking about starting this race on the rain tire. There was a bulletin that was put out in terms of clarifying what you're allowed to do with the tire change, but it's drying out rapidly. It was really not a rain, just a heavy mist, but it certainly got everyone scratching their heads. The Pirelli tire boys are certainly very busy over the last couple of hours.
Some problems for some of our players in this championship yesterday.
Yeah, and I think the biggest hit was up into turn 1. Matt Keegan got caught out with a big incident there, major damage to the number 50 Panos that he shares with Ian James, one of the championship favorites. Andy Pilgrim was involved as well, who's sharing the number 1 car with Lawson Archenbach. They were very lucky. There's a lot of damage to the front radiator. It did not rupture, and Lawson came through with some strong points, but they're starting deep in the pack today. Lawson will roll off 11th.
Well, BMW strong here, the first 2 rows with the BMWs. Oh. A little special thing down here on our pre-grid. Mark Clennan's daughter actually getting proposed to by her boyfriend, and hey, it looks like she said yes. I guess that's gonna be pretty good, Cal.
Congratulations to everyone involved.
You see Mark Clennan there, that number 62 McLaren that he shares with Max Riddle, who will be starting here. And, great stuff here today at Circuit of the Americas. Well, our field's continuing on their installation lap. We'll be getting those Pirelli P0 tires warmed up as we get set for green. Well, coming down to turn number 19, pace car lights are still on, Cal. Going to do another pace lap here, led by that classic BMW M3 GTS. Yeah,
I think they're just giving everyone a chance to feel out this racetrack. Certainly the conditions are very different. A lot of dampness in the air this morning. It was almost like a rain. As you know, they said the weather forecast was a heavy mist, but it certainly got everyone's attention in terms of whether you should start on wets or slicks. I got a feeling that at the last moment there may have been some tire changes on the pre-grid. Just before we came at the booth, there were certainly some teams that had the wets on the race car, but hopefully they got those changed. You can see it's drying out rapidly right now.
And Pirelli World Challenge officials did do a participant bulletin talking about what the teams are allowed to do for that tire change.
Yeah, I mean, essentially you don't want to lock everyone into what sort of tire you should be starting on, but what they did say, if you start on wets, you got to make them last the distance. If you start on slicks, you got to last the distance. However, you can switch between one and another. So what we're really talking about is giving the teams the opportunity to choose wets and then move to slicks, either inside or outside of that pit stop window.
And speaking of that pit stop window, the clock has started, so we are in theory under green flag here with the track damp. It's weather here today at this 3.4 mile 20-turn course is right in the high 60s, low 70s throughout the race long. It was misting all morning, a little bit of rain, and now come race time. The track is starting to dry out. I got a word down from Ryan Marine on pit lane. It says it looks like the classic BMWs were on rain tires. All the other competitors were on slicks. So there is some strategy playing out, Cal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those days where you go to bed thinking, okay, you got it all set for tomorrow, you got the reset, you're making changes to your race car based on how it felt here yesterday, and then you come in and the weather has thrown a big curveball at everyone. But right now the track looks really good, but certainly on those painted curbs, not that you want to use them too much anyway, you could find that you're not getting the grip you're looking for.
Our pace car leading our field down, and as with always, drivers warming up their Pirelli P0 tires as they get set to take the real green flag here under Ingram as we get ready to go green here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas at Circuit of the Americas. Pace car lights are out, cars lined up side by side, Calvin, as they come up for the green flag to start round number 2 of the Sprint X competition in our GTS category. Nice pair of BMWs on the front of the grid.
Yeah, 4 BMWs on the front of the grid. On the pole is Whitmer, alongside is McAleer, so a lot of pace right there. Harry Gottsacker could have won this race yesterday, just lost too much time in their pit stop exchange. Came through for a podium run, had the pole yesterday, so look for that red sin, number 69, sitting there third in line on the inside on the run to turn 1.
Well, out of turn number 20, they'll enter our acceleration zone. Now the green flag here at Circuit of the Americas is further down, right under the gantry across the track. There they cross the finish line, waiting for the green flag, and we are green, underway for the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas.
Oh, look at that. Lawson Oshenbeck has got someone charging down the inside. Could be Nate Stacey, I'm not sure.
Right there, that number 52 Core Motorsports. You got to watch out for track limits. They're going too far to the inside. 4, 5 wide into turn number 1.
Incredible. Everyone just trying to get through there. Lawson Oshenbeck has lost a ton of positions there, our championship leader.
It is going to be Steve McAleer, though, up into the lead in his classic BMW. Right behind him, it's Nick Whitmer doing a good job in that Samantha Tan Racing BMW here today.
Certainly those BMWs have come alive, had the pace. Remember, the grid was set from the fast laps in race 1 here, and that was dominated by the BMW. This M4 machine is certainly getting everyone's attention as we've got this host of new GT4 machinery introduced to the championship this year for the first time.
Well, classic BMW led the field with their pace car. They're leading it with their car first and third, with Jason Hart back in third place in the number 27 machine.
Gottsacker there losing out a little bit. Let's see if he can find some rhythm as gradually these tire temps are going to come into their sweet spot. Paul Halton there in the number 78 Compass Racing machine, sitting in the 6th position as they get into that brake zone.
Jay Buford trying to get around him. Your race winner yesterday, that number 55 PF Racing Ford Mustang, putting the pressure on Paul Holton. Team with Ray Mason. Ray started that car. Paul able to get a good lap in his race to move to the front of this field.
Looks like Kozarov may have made an early move as well. Very fast here yesterday, starting the race.
James Safranis there going to the outside of Paul Holton, trying to see if he can make that move to 6th. And Gregory Leafouge in that 4th, the number 88 BMW from Stephen Cameron Racing, starting to put the pressure on Jason Hart.
Yeah, things settling in here nicely. I expected McAleer to be quick. He certainly had a great race here yesterday. GMG Audi, Sofronis having another strong run.
And you can see this track, Cal. It looks pretty dry for these competitors.
Oh, contact! Through the high-speed triple apex carousel turn. Not sure if there's damage to the 88 machine of Leofouge. There is.
Yeah, you can see he's got a flat left, and it looks like there might be some suspension damage there for Leofouge. Got into the side of Jason Hart, spun that car. Hart was able to get around. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happens here.
Looks to the inside, then just loses it a little bit, corrects, but there wasn't enough room.
Yeah, looks like he got on that paint there on the inside, it being wet. Just lost control of that BMW, slid right into Jason Hart.
Yeah, you just got to be super patient here in these early laps. Just feel out this racetrack is going to be changing rapidly. There'll be a dry line, but if you go to the inside, it's still a little bit damp, and you're going to lose that grip you're looking for. Sofronis looks like he's gapped Paul Halton a little bit here.
His GMG Audi R8 LMS. GT4 doing a good job, trying to work his way, and now that he is clear of Holton, trying to run down the cars in front of him. Good run for Paul Holton, and you got to feel like you said earlier with Harry Gottsecker still trying to recover in that Sin R1 GT4. Had the race in the field covered yesterday, and just an error on the pit stop. Miscommunication from the team on when that car was supposed to be released.
Yeah, essentially there's a pit lane delta. You got to be on pit line for 77 seconds. They're allowing you 45 seconds to do the driver change. If you just roll through pit lane, it's going to take 32 seconds. You add those together, so it's a 77-second delta. And I'm not sure what happened there with the Racers Edge team, but they lost about 10 seconds to the rest of the field. So Gottsecker came in with the lead and suddenly was mired deep in the top 10. Had a brilliant recovery drive.
Nate Stacy leading the second pack here, and he's doing a great job. Started back in the 13th position and works his way all the way up to 7th as Gottsecker trying to defend his line against your race winner once again yesterday, Jade Buford, teaming up with Scott Maxwell here today, getting that win yesterday.
Lawson Oshenbach at the back of this pack, getting into it hard with Shipchat. He looks to the inside, late move by Lawson Oshenbach. Gets inside of Stacy. This is going to be really tight at apex.
Yeah, he had no choice but to pinch it down there and bounce over the curb a little bit and get recovered. As you saw the Pirelli Racing Kristen Shimshak there, that number 34 Mercedes team with Matt Fosnauer. But Lawson Oshenbach back to the inside, gets around Stacy, looking to the outside, and maybe even get Gottsecker, Cal.
Wow, he's getting really racy. I mean, he has taken a lot of chances. He recognized he's deep in the pack. We've seen Lawson over the years just be super conservative, place the car in the right place, but right now he realizes he's man on a mission. He is going to the front. Little twitch there through that carousel turn, you could see it.
Oh, just fighting for grip as they come down through the field. Cameron Lawrence in that number 113 BMW just in front of this group, but Oshenbach looking to the inside of Buford. Nothing there as Tony Gaples coming down into the pit lane. That's actually Michael Cooper behind that, the car 18, but not sure what the problem is there.
Yeah, I wonder if they started on wets and they got to make the change. Be surprised if they kept with that decision, or unless he's got some kind of technical issue or a cut down tire. But Cooper's making an early stop. He's not inside that pit stop window to put Tony behind the wheel. Oshenbach, another power move to the inside. Great driving here by our champion.
Clears Buford, or does he, as they come down the hill? Buford doesn't want to give it up. He sticks it outside and makes contact there.
There's damage to the left front, just too tight there. Shimshak goes for quite the ride, but I don't think he got damaged, but I do believe there's damage to the left front corner of Lawson Oshenbach. You can see the toe out.
He's going to have to long way to go to nurse that back down to pit lane 2, Cal. That happened right there in turn number 2.
Drama for our champion. Remember, you don't get points unless you do 50% of the laps of the leaders. So they've got to get that Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro back to pit lane. Ray Sorensen and the boys have got to go to work and somehow get the car back out there and get those laps in. Otherwise, it'll be a really bad day.
See if we can get a replay of exactly what happened, Cal. They're side by side here, and I'm not sure if we see. I thought it looked like Lawson maybe hit that curb on the inside and bounced over to the Mustang.
There's some bumps there on the inside. He may have got pinched a little bit and had to get on the curb. Either way, he just gets and touches the side, the right side of Jade Buford's car, the car that won here yesterday. He and Scott Maxwell, a brilliant performance. That's not going to happen here today.
Well, Shimshak was one of the cars that did recover from there. Things are heating up here and the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas. Well, as with most of our races here this weekend, double race weekend dramas right at the start.
You can see there, big incident. Matt Keegan is out of this race. Major disappointment for the Panos team that affects Ian James in his championship charge.
Good battling here. You see Mark Clinton, Adam Mirzon. All these drivers really point there. And there was Scott Maxwell. Did a superb drive, handed his car over to Jay Buford, ultimately held on for the win.
Yeah, great performance. They got the debut win for the Ford Mustang GT4. Year later, they team up again and take it to victory lane. And what a sprint to the finish there.
Yeah, Colin Brown ahead, able to get that last-minute move and pass two cars. A lot of celebrations down there. Good stuff in race number 1 here, but back to at it today in a battle for the lead now, Cal. Well, battle continues for the lead here. Stephen McAleer over Nick Whitmer, the two BMWs, two separate teams, though. It's classic BMW versus Samantha Tan Racing.
Yeah, this is a great little battle, and we expected it. Two of the best in the business going hard at it. The BMW is certainly well suited to these conditions right now. McAleer a little bit wide. Whitmer gets alongside. Battle of traction there coming off of turn 15.
I think McAleer will have the inside here, but let's try to see if we get down to pit lane with our third member of our broadcast team, Ryan Marine, for an update.
Yeah, down here at the Black Dog Speed Shop pit stall here, because Lawson Aschenbach has brought the Camaro GT4 to the attention of his crews. Some clear damage to the left front of this race car. Keep in mind, this car was heavily repaired after some contact on track yesterday. It looked like the car was mostly superficial damage, like you break the eggshell on a hard-boiled egg, the insides stay the same. This, though, appears to be somewhat more significant as the crew goes to work on the left front of the car. It appears perhaps some suspension damage. By the way, we were down with the Greg Leofou's car earlier. It appeared some damage to the brake ducting. That kept that car in pit lane for quite some time. And one other update, the other Black Dog Camaro has been on pit lane already. They were starting on the rain tires, elected to get off of those and go onto the slicks. So that's why they've already been on pit lane.
Well, exactly like you mentioned there, Cal. Let's take a quick look here at the replay, and you can see those two cars getting together.
Yeah, it's very bumpy on the inside. You couldn't really tell whether Lawson was up on the curve at the same time, but just hard racing there with Jake Buford trying to protect that position. End of the day, the championship leader and champion from last year is in pit lane. They just got to work hard, try and get that car back out there and get the number of laps you need to get points scored here today.
Well, you can see Nick Whitmer really pushing his GPI BMW behind that Monticello Motor Club BMW as they come down here into turn number 11, the hard braking zone, right on the back bumper. Stephen McAleer teaming up in the number 17. Driver
Justin
change.
Raphael, and certainly Sophronis is having a nice run here, but he's in third spot, but some 10 seconds back from these leaders. So they are really in the groove. They've got fast race cars that's going to be down to their teammates to try and bring it home. Essentially what the rules dictate is that your AM had to qualify and start the race yesterday, and the finishing driver, your pro, finished the race in race 1 and starts the day here. So it's going to be a big change when we get some of the gentleman drivers back behind the wheel to finish this deal off.
Or in the number 38, the gentle lady driver, Samantha Tan, stepping in for Nick Whitmer, the team principal there at Samantha Tan Racing. Set two cars strong now with the 36, Aurora Strauss and Al Carter running in that car. They're a little bit back in the field. They're trying to work their way up back in 13th.
Yeah, Samantha did a really nice job yesterday, just keeping it clean. There was a lot of carnage around her, and she just picked her way through the melee to turn the car over to Whitmer to bring home a nice solid result, and with it the fast lap in the pole position.
Getting word from race control, a drive-through penalty for car 55 for causing the contact. I'm not sure there, as it looks like
Contact
Preston
here,
Calvert
in the number 3.
Oh, that was the team of Randy Miller and Michael Camo. Not sure. Whoa!
That was
Not
abrupt.
sure
I'm
what
not sure
happened
if
there.
the BMW was moving over. It's tough to tell from that quick flash there. Either way, major contact and turned him abruptly.
Well, unfortunate too, because Randy Mueller had an incident with that car yesterday at the start with Mike Hedlund. That ended their race, and then today with Michael Campbell. Oh, big smoke coming out of the back of Ian James's car.
This is a car that had major damage to the front end yesterday when Matt Keegan had that spin up in turn one and was plowed into by Sabo in the McLaren. This looks like the other end of the race car.
Yeah, it's not having any dramas there as he's able to get around Jade Buford as he comes down pit lane for that drive-through penalty.
See that smoke emanating from the rear. Not good news for the Panos team, trying to rebound from a big problem here yesterday.
Looking at our GT Am class, it is Al Carter. The car he shares with Aurora Strauss leading, Drew Stavely in second place, and then Derek DeBoer in third in that number 66 Racers group. Porsche Cayman Club Sport. A good story there, that McLaren from Alicia Sabo. We talked about the damage yesterday with Andy Lee's teammate with that Panos. They had a local driver that has a McLaren 570 street car. They needed pieces off. They went to the guy's house, stripped his car to put cars on the race car here today.
Yeah, they were over at the More Speed shop till the early hours of the morning. Just a lot of hard work was put in by these crews last night. And that's coming off a race just a couple of weeks ago at St. Petersburg where there was some damage as well. So tough start to the year for a lot of these race teams.
There is that number 36 BMW, your leader in our GTS Am category. As you look back, Nate Stacey fighting with Ryan Eversley in that K-Sit Audi R8, teamed up with Adam Mirzon. And here's a good shot of Al Carter, first in our Am category. GPI, Monticello Motor Club on the side of that car as well. And Aurora
did a really nice job yesterday qualifying up in the top 10 and had a really good clean race. Al was in the thick of a deep battle. He's going to get really defensive yesterday, but so far so good for this team.
Had Aurora Strauss on Good Morning America here Friday morning. So congratulations to her on that appearance. Got a little special guest appearance by Danica Patrick, wishing her good luck as well.
She's a little superstar. I love her poise. She's a very confident young lady, very smart, and does a great job behind the wheel. She ticks all of the boxes.
We see Vinny Algaretta. They're in the 12th position in his Ford Mustang GT4 teams with that Jay Buford and Scott Maxwell that won yesterday, part of that 3-car PF Racing team. Here's Nate Stacey going to the inside of Ryan Eversley in the Audi. Nate hard on the braking zone here into turn number 1.
Yeah, Eversley's not going to give it to him. He realized if you can just run the outside, then gives you the inside for turn 2, which he does nicely. So that's a pro at work there. Just recognize, okay, I'm under pressure. Don't panic. Don't give it to him. Don't shut the door. And maybe I'll hang on to it by the time I get to the S's, which is exactly what he did. Surprised at Gottsacher's pace. He had so much pace here yesterday, starting the race from the pole and podium run. He's dropped back to just inside the top 10 right now. Expected him to be at the front.
Well, Nate Stacey earning that best start of the race award from Optima Batteries, picking up 6 positions on that first lap. And we saw his tremendous start, earning that Optima Battery best start of the race award, Cal.
Yeah, confident young man making the move from the Flying Lizard team running the Caymans last year. Back to something he knows, big muscle car, and he's got Dean Martin, his mentor, co-driving with him. Saw Dean this morning, he said it could be a good day for us if it remains wet, as we saw a couple of hours before the green flag here this morning, but it's dried out, and Nate has done a really nice job moving through the field. So Fronis is closing in on those leaders. Still runs in the 3rd position, but
Well, I want to welcome everybody once again. Sorry we weren't able to do that at the very beginning of our show, but watching live at world-challenge.com. So I want to give all the shout out there. We're trying to build our CBS Sports Network broadcast show for our GTS Sprint X race here this weekend, Cal. And want to welcome all of our web listeners here. So we'll be taking some breaks. There'll be some quiet times. We'll be talking to our producers. So that's sort of why you see sort of a mismatch of stuff going on right now. A lot of moving pieces to get all this done, Cal.
Some fast-moving pieces right there on the racetrack right now. McAleer is just wringing the neck of that BMW. But Whitmer is hanging on to him as they now encounter traffic coming down into that brake zone. Burns there. He was looking to the inside and making a move on the 19 Reardon racing machine, but the leaders were coming through at the same time.
See that Reardon Racing number 19. Jeff Burton. Teammates to Vesco Kozarov in that Reardon Racing team. But Nick Whitmer, second place in that BMW. Just lost a little ground due to lap traffic. And we say this now, these are, quote, the pros that are in these cars. Stephen McAleer, Nick Whitmer. They'll pit stops here in about 3.5 minutes. That's going to change the outcome in this race a little bit. You get the AMs back in the car.
Yeah, it's going to put a lot of pressure on them, but that's what Sprint X competition is all about. Suddenly putting guys outside of their comfort zone, leading races, which maybe for some of them may be the very first time in their careers, but it's certainly a great dynamic to this race. And just to reiterate, the pit lane window opens at 25 minutes. You no longer have to see a flag at start finish. As soon as you hit the 25-minute mark, you're allowed to jump into pit lane. Doesn't have to be the leader first necessarily, and you have to be in pit lane if you elect to extend that before you make that first stop. Got to be into the pit lane by the 35-minute mark. Pit stop can exceed that drive time, but you have to cross the stripe and be inside the timing loop to pit lane by 35 minutes. Give us a good indication as to who has the faster race car right now. The little gap that McAleer was able to extend in traffic. If Whitmer can close in on him, it may indicate that Whitmer is slightly quicker, but McAleer's a keen racer and is hanging on nicely. He's literally sliding that car around right now. Curious to know if any other cars started on the wet weather tires. We certainly heard from Ryan that Michael Cooper had, and that is why he made the dive down into pit lane. Oh, look at the traffic there. McAleer chose the wrong way, momentarily lost a ton of time. Hairy moments here for the leaders.
Well, Whitmer able to close that gap. There's one more car, Jason Bell. They'll capture him right here on the bottom of turn number 10. Jason does a good job getting out of the way, letting the two leaders through as they come down in the braking zone at turn number 11. Well, welcome back as our battle in our GTS Sprint X competition is hot and heavy now. Stephen McAleer leading over Nick Whitmer, and they're racing hard today, but as with always, we had a race yesterday. Let's get a good chance to take back and look and see what happens here right at the start, Cal.
Well, it was wild. You can see there mid-pack, Mike Hedlund just gets clobbered and major damage to the right front corner. His day was done. A lot of work for the Flying Lizard team. Then a spin here by Matt Keegan. Most of the crew got through. You can see a stack up there. Andy Pilgrim was involved, and ultimately Sabo pile drives that Panos. Major damage to both race cars. Their day was done.
Terrible for that team, Ian James, in that championship. But a good battle here between the McLaren and Audi. The K-Sit Premier copying machine is a little contact there. We call it the argy-bargy, right, Cal?
Yeah, we needed a meter for that. But ultimately, Scott Maxwell, he watches his teammate Jay Buford take the victory.
Well, good for him and Jay Buford. Scott Maxwell getting the first win for that Ford Mustang globally as well. And Colin Brown picks up 2 positions right on the exit of a corner.
Yeah, unique here that the start and the finish line are 2 different places on the racetrack as the teams celebrate their race 1 positions. And the champagne was spraying. These guys got the first GT4 win for the Mustang a year ago, and they come back and team together. Success immediately.
Right here in Pirelli World Challenge competition, but now it seems to be a BMW M4 GT4 show, so to speak, here with these 2 cars.
Yeah, they've really extended that lead over Sofronis. It's now up to, in fact, Cameron Lawrence has got around Sofronis for the 3rd position, but he's some 17 seconds back. So these two guys are in a league of their own right now. And McAleer in traffic a couple of laps ago in the break really got caught up in traffic. Whitman nearly took advantage of that, but Stephen McAleer is hanging on right now.
Obviously, the outright pace of these BMWs is allowing these cars to pull away, but I think the fact that they're not fighting back and forth, side by side, corner after corner, is helping them extend that gap as well.
Two smart racers, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on their teammates, Justin Raphael and Samantha Tam, when they get behind the wheel, but we'll have to see how they can deal with that and how the teams execute these pit stops. 77 seconds is the pit lane delta. You need to meet that or be beyond that, but you don't want to give up too much time. As we saw yesterday, that cost you a lot of track position.
Looking at our GTS AM category, it's Al Carter, Drew Stavely, and Derek DeBoer, your top 3 in the AM category. But battle on here. Can Nick Whitmer make the move for the lead here before the pit stops? As I believe now the pit lane should be open, so we should start seeing some of these pit lanes. Yeah, word from race control, pit lane is open, so we'll see. Obviously with the AM Pro category, you want to leave your pro out as long as you can on the pit stop.
Yeah, you may find that these guys will be out there nearly another 10 minutes. They want to get right to the end of that window and minimize the delta between the two teammates. Conversely, if someone feels they've got a faster driver standing on the pit wall, they'll want to get he or she behind the wheel as quickly as possible.
Here comes the number 92, Toby Grahovic, Chris Omak. He's been busy the last 3 weeks, had really a dismal run yesterday in the race, not what we expected of that team.
No tire changes are allowed unless you're going from the wets back to the slicks. It's all about just getting that driver change done. Essentially, you're going to be sitting still for about 45 seconds, plus the 32 seconds that it takes you to drive down pit lane at 35 miles per hour.
Colin Brown changes his McLaren Audi over to George Kurtz, minute 20, so the magic time is a minute 17 on the clock. Scott Maxwell, Jay Buford had a drive-through penalty a little bit earlier, but 79 seconds on the pit delta for that team. We're still waiting on the number 92. They have about 3 seconds left to see how they go on their pit stop, and they're going to be late.
About 6 minutes left before you need to get that car to pit lane, so they'll certainly back time that and cut it as close as they can to extend the run for the pro driver, if you have a pro driver in your car right now.
Back to our lead group here, the classic BMW of Steve McAleer. Still battling over Nick Whitmer, and these guys have been nose to tail as they worked their way all the way back up on the back bumper of Michael Cooper, and that was a car 27th overall right now that Ryan Marine talked about earlier. They took a gamble, started it on rains, had to pit early and switch over to those slick tires.
Kind of surprised with that, because you'd think if anyone could have handled the car on slicks on the wet racetrack, it would have been Michael Cooper. But, you know, they obviously looked at the racetrack and said, you know what, let's roll the dice. He was buried deep in the pack. I think he was about 20th on the grid. So maybe it's just one of those days you think, you know what, it could come our way if it's still wet out there, but it just didn't work. He had to dive into pit lane early.
Still trying to leave Michael Cooper, I'm sure, out as long as they can before he hands that machine over to Tony Gaples, the team principal at Black Dog Speed Shop. As you see, right in front of him is Ian James in that number 50 Panos, and he's way back in the field at 26. You can still see the smoke coming out of the back of that Panos. It is wounded. Miserable race for them, and he is off. That is probably gave up the ghost in that Panos finally.
Yeah. Probably a rear end issue with the race car. I'm not sure what's coming from the motor itself. Just not the weekend that Tom Milner and the whole team needed there. This Panos Avazano. Tough weekend. 6 victories last year. Just need to regroup and come back strong at the next round of this championship.
Well, the key here too, Cal, is we're not quite to halfway yet. They didn't get to halfway yesterday. No points yesterday, no points today. Similar outcome that he had at St. Petersburg last season that ultimately cost him the championship.
Yeah, and it's going to be really tight. We're right at that 30-minute mark. It's based on laps, not time. So with the leaders having to pit now and lose a little bit of time on pit lane, it's going to be really close.
Yeah, the best thing that they could have happen is a full course yellow for a long time. Right. They're not running around with getting those laps racked up on the counter, because it looks like right now with Ian James, he's at the 8-lap mark. So we'll have to see if 16 laps, 10 laps, or 11 laps for the leader right now. And I think that if we stay green, obviously with 29 minutes, we're going to eclipse that pretty easily.
he's in trouble. 0-point score yesterday with the early hit for Matt Keegan.
As you see, our GTS AM leader, Al Carter, brings his number 36 BMW down on pit lane. He'll hand that car over to Aurora Strauss. As we're still waiting for our lead duo here to come down pit lane. You still have about 4 minutes to go, so as long as you cross that pit entrance line before 35 minutes have expired on the clock, you are good to still complete your driver change.
Yeah, it's going to have to be this lap or the next one. You can't extend it any further than that. So you blinks first here. And that could be critical, because for an out lap with someone getting in with not the same pace, if you extend your stint by a lap, that could easily be 5-6 seconds right there.
James Safronis was running in 4th place. He comes down pit lane, hands that car over to his teammate Alex Welch. 1 minute 18 pit delta, so 78.8 seconds. They were about 1.8 seconds too slow, but still a pretty good pit stop. One of the best we've seen so far about pit stops.
Yeah, you don't want to be giving up more than about a couple of seconds, but as we saw yesterday in the GT race, the R Ferry group timed it to perfection. 77.3 that got them the track position, got them the win. So it can make or break your day. Whitman dies first.
Here comes the number 38 GPI BMW. Samantha Tan racing down onto pit lane. Samantha Tan will be on that pit wall waiting to do this driver change. I'll check over that car. Steve McAleer will have to make his pit stop next time by. They're lapping at about 2:20, and they got a 2:40 to get that pit stop done.
Yeah, he can't afford any problems. He doesn't need a spin or any big traffic, but he should be safe. Just got to keep it clean, but this could be pivotal. This could give that team about a 5-second advantage here on this hot lap for Stephen McAleer compared to Whitmer's car coming in a lap earlier.
Yeah, he'll want to put his head down and try to do the best lap he can. Gets hung up a little bit by the number 8 GBG McLaren. This is one we talked about earlier, that Whitten got parts from a customer street car to put on this car to make that race today.
A nice job of letting the leader through. 11 car back out there, of course, after that early pit stop to switch over from the rain tire to the slicks. There'll be 2 pit stops for those guys today at least.
We just talked about that McLaren. You saw that switched over to Elise Sabo from Andy Lee, and they had a 77.667, nice. So only 0.6 of a second on that pit delta. That's timing it to perfection there.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's where you want to be, in the tenths. Start running a second or two more, and you're losing time to the rest of the field, and your chances of a great finish here.
And Nick Whitmer, Samantha Tan came in. They were nose to tail. They're going to have a 3-second deficit now to the field as a 1 minute 20-second pit lane delta. They missed it by 3 seconds.
Plus the hot lap for Stephen McAleer. So when everything cycles through, you could suddenly see this 17 car 5-10 seconds down the road.
We'll have to see. They'll have no choice but to pit. He'll hand that car over to Justin Raphael, competitor in Pirelli World Challenge last season in the BMW M235i racing in our touring car category. Part of that huge classic BMW contingent. 8 cars strong here this weekend. 4 of these M4 GT4s and 4 of the M235s that we'll see later today in our touring car category. But watching McAleer come around that quadruple apex turn down here into turn number 19, and he'll pull off right into pit lane now, Cal.
Peels off now. He's been a touring car champion before. Locks up the brakes momentarily there as he hits pit lane, just trying to minimize the time loss. But great execution by that whole team. The 11 car comes with them as well. Even though you've made a pit stop early, you've still got to suffice the rules in getting that mandatory stop done within the pit lane window. So Michael Cooper brings the number 11 Black Dog Speed Shop car in to turn it over to his teammate Tony Gables at the same time.
Well, McAleer brings that number 17 BMW down into that classic BMW pit lane. Come on down to stop. Ryan Marine is with that car.
Driver change is underway. Stephen McAleer with the mammoth opening stint, going just about as long as you can go, given the rules. He's climbing out. Justin Raphael now getting into that classic BMW machine. Strong start for them. Classic BMW opting to split their strategy. A handful of their cars started on the wets. This one did not. That appears to have been the correct strategy. McAleer now helping Raphael get strapped in. Still plenty of time to do it, given the rules. And once he's ready to go and the clock is in the appropriate spot, they'll let him back out there. The question is, where does he cycle back into this fight?
Tell you what, this is taking an extended amount of time here, Ryan. They could be losing out in terms of that 77 77-second pit lane delta.
Go, 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 go. They're
to
already
go.
right
They
at
lost,
117 now.
I
Yeah.
don't know what the weight was unless Justin wasn't totally ready to go. They're going to lose time. So everything that Stephen McAleer did.
Yeah, 120, minute 26.
Yeah, wow. 9 seconds lost there on pit lane. So that's going to make it really tight.
We'll have to wait for the pit stops to cycle through as we continue going there. As it looks like, looks like Samantha Tan gets around for the lead overall here as they cycle through pit stops here today.
Well, exactly what we expected, a 5 to 10 second lead suddenly turned into nothing and a deficit just because they wasted a bit too much time on pit lane.
It all comes down to the pit stops here today. We're back with you on our web call as we complete our TV call. Boy, the pit stops come through. I can't wait, Cal, until we get cycled back here through the line to see where everybody waits. As looks like one of the Sins off on the track stopped in the braking zone down in turn number 11.
Yeah, and that's a problem there. Unless he can suddenly get some fire in that and move it, it's not really a safe spot right now. It'll be on the local yellow for now. Hopefully we don't have to go full caution.
Yeah, Mark Pavin in that car, the number 34 Sin from Racer's Edge.
There you see the 38 and the 17 still in close proximity. I thought McAleer had done a brilliant job in terms of his pace, keeping him out there till the very last moment, but somehow they got a little bit wrong. The driver change seemed to be really taking a long time.
Yeah, you saw McAleer leaning in each time. I think they were having a hard time with that right shoulder strap. Couldn't quite get it hooked up. Now it's going to see if Justin Raphael run down Samantha Tan. I see right now we got, looks like Darren Jorgensen might have been a really good time with Cameron Lawrence. They were still about 5-6 seconds, over that pit speed delta, but they're listed as in second place right now, the number 113. So we'll see once the cars cycle back through the start line here where timing and scoring lines up as they do full course yellow. So we'll get a really good understanding of where everyone is to pick up the leader here. So safety car will be coming out on pit lane at the exit and pick up our leaders.
This is going to be exciting. So all of the pit stops are being done. We're going to have a reset. Everyone will be on the right tires. The track is dry. We're going to have a shootout here for the victory.
Well, under yellow here today, if you see the race leader early on, Steve McAleer turning that car over to Justin Raphael, but it is Samantha Tan and Nick Whitmer in their GPI Racing BMW were able to get the lead on that pit stop, Cal.
Yeah, and it looked like the 17 car were going to be in great shape with McAleer extending his stint by one more lap, so he had a hot lap coming in, but they lost a little bit of time on the driver exchange with Justin Raphael getting in. And has given the lead to Samantha Tan, so there it is. Pace car picks up Samantha Tan. She has the lead right now. Going to be a lot of pressure on here as the full field will be stacked up here for the restart.
Let's get an update down at Ryan Marine down on pit lane.
Talking to Stephen McAleer now, who did spend the good portion of that first stint up in the lead. What were the conditions like at the start? I know some teams were split on what to do in terms of wet or dry tires.
Yeah, it was really tricky. I think the wet tire probably would have worked right out of box there. I had a lot of fun with the 38 car there. He's never raced with him before, and I had a ton of fun at the front with him. And really, it was just trying to not make any mistakes, give Justin the car in one piece. I think we just got a caution, which probably won't help us. But the classic BMW guys gave us a great car today. First race in the BMW GT4 for me, and to see the cars 1-2, we're really excited for the platform and for the rest of the season.
Sprint X is a little bit new to this championship, and with it, the driver changes. Was there a little bit of a problem with your driver change?
Yeah, I hope you didn't get that on camera. It's a new thing for us with the Magnus up top, and I missed the Magnus. We still got out on time, but it's certainly something that we can improve on. I was certainly not at my best there. I might have been decent on the track, but that was pretty poor there, so we'll work on it for next time.
Well, like you said, strong on track, good first stint, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Well, thanks, Ryan. And yeah, interesting to say, obviously we need some more pit stop practice time.
Honesty from a driver, that's pretty cool.
Sounds just like Ryan DL, too. Kind of funny. Looking at the standings now as the teams have cycled through, it is going to be Samantha Tan leading over Justin Raphael. the team of James DeFrancis and Alex Welch into third place in that Audi. Got a few lap cars in between him there. Darren Jorgensen and his BMW in fourth. And how about Dean Martin, Nate Stacey, top 5 for that Mustang now?
Yeah, as you look deeper into the pack, with no disrespect to the ladies and gentlemen at the front of the field right now, Alex Welch is a really strong pilot there in the number 14 GMG Audi. He may be a man on the mission. A little bit deeper in the field, Dean Martin now behind the wheel of the number 52. Gottsacker had the pole here yesterday. Can any of those boys take it to the front?
Don't count out some boys behind them. Drew Stavely in the 10th place right now. He's our GT AM leader, and we saw him sweep the weekend at St. Petersburg, Florida in that Ian Lacey Racing Ginetta G55. So watch out for that car as well. A lot of big shoes to fill here behind us with the pros stepping in, and now the AM's coming out. Samantha Tan, just her development, starting off in our TCA category, moving into the touring car category, now into GTS machines, the Pirelli World Challenge, that true built-in ladder system for a lot of these young drivers.
Yeah, very cool team, a lot of energy down there. They had a nice little get-together a couple of nights ago in the paddock, invited all of the competitors. It wasn't just for their team, so great camaraderie, and this is a really strong result, whatever happens here today for this team. Great performance. And to tell you what, looking a little bit deeper in the pack, Scott Maxwell, he's got a reset. Buford had that drive-through penalty. They got their driver change done, had victory here yesterday. He sits 14th in line right now, so could be some big movers and shakers here when we get back to green.
It should be, actually. You talk about that, Maxwell. Mike Hedlund still trying to recover from that early incident we saw in our race highlights yesterday. The Porsche AM, he's second place in his Audi. Third right now is that car of Sean Gibbons taking over from Derek DeBoer. Cool story there. His wife Brooke filming a documentary series called Fast Life. You can download it on Amazon TV. It's kind of the trials and tribulations of being a race car driver, trying to find the funding, sponsorship, time away from the family, what it takes to be a race car driver. All about Derek DeBoer. They're filming the second season now, so pretty cool story there.
It is, and big change for them campaigning the Porsche Cayman here this weekend. They went testing with the Aston Martin, just didn't feel it was going to be competitive, so a little bit of a scramble, late change, and they're just finding their feet right now, finding a setup with that race car. But you know, with Kevin Buckland and the TRG group, they'll come back strong.
Watching our classic BMW, the M3 GTS, lead our field with our safety car. I want to give a huge thank you to Classic BMW, providing our pace car, safety vehicle, and the medical vehicle, our BMW X5, able to pace the field behind at the start. Have our medical crew on there if anything happens. We have Dr. Somerville on board, so has a complete medical history. And I got to give a huge thank you to Preston Calvert as well, administering this brand new concussion test for all of our drivers. We had that huge incident with Alvaro Parent at St. Petersburg, Florida. They administered that test immediately, and he had no variations in his test time, so it really goes to show it's starting to work.
Yeah, it's a great procedure to have in place. All the drivers have to go through that prior to their first race of the championship season. And if they do have an incident on track, they'll get checked and they'll compare the results.
Mark. Mark Pavin in that Sen R1 GT4. The car came to a stop. Looked like it was kind of hung down on the right rear a little bit, so I'm not sure if there was a tire down or a suspension failure. They did break a hub yesterday in the left rear, or sorry, Thursday in the test session of Harry Gottsecker's Sen R1, so maybe a little weak point in the rear end of these cars.
Yeah, and this racetrack has certainly got a lot bumpier over the last couple of years, and the track have purchased a really high-tech grinding machine from Europe is going to be here shortly, and in the next couple of weeks they're going to go to work on this racetrack, particularly from turns 1 all the way down to that hard braking zone for turn 11 to just alleviate a lot of the bumps that have developed. We had a lot of rain over the winters here in Texas and a lot of heaving in the racetrack, and suddenly the racetrack seems a lot different from the year before when you start driving on it.
And then you get all your notes and all your data from the race out this weekend, and now it's going to change again next week. And that machine, pretty cool deal actually. It's like, I think like 60 teeth or 30 teeth is a normal one. It leaves those big grooves, but now it's like a 300 tooth groove machine, so it makes it a lot smoother. But pace car lights are out as we get ready to go green here through that little tight left-hander and then this quadruple apex right-hander around the 360 amphitheater here at Circuit of the Americas. A great concert venue, great facility. The Samantha Tan leading the field. Well, we're ready to go green here. Samantha Tan leading the field for GTS Sprint X competition as we get back underway. Come through the acceleration zone. It's hers to choose when she wants to go. Waiting for that green flag here on the front stretch, right underneath that gantry. Lined up nose to tail. We're back underway for GTS competition here at Circuit of the Americas, Cal.
Great restart by Samantha Tan, taking the lead there. Justin Raphael looks to the inside, thinks better of it. Here comes Alex Welsh, a big move to the inside. Some lap cars in between he and the leaders, running third in the number. Oh, it's a spin.
And Dean
27
Martin,
car gets turned.
Yeah, Dean Martin gets into one of the lap cars there in turn number 1. It looks like everybody's going to get through clear. It's always scary stuff, especially when you're sitting on the outside there. We saw this yesterday with the Panos and the McLaren. They got clean through the number 27. Let's see if we can get a replay here. Everybody down to the inside. And it looks like Dean Martin just there on the inside misjudged his distance and got into the side of that BMW.
Yeah, there's like that funneling effect right at apex there. And when you're 4-5 wide, it's just really in the lap of the gods whether you can all safely negotiate through that corner. Don't think there's any damage. He's now back underway.
That was the number 27 classic BMW, Mike Vest, behind the wheel now. His teammate gave him that car during the pit stop, Jason Hart, who was doing a good job at the beginning of top 3 starting spot.
Samantha Tan doing a really nice job holding on to that lead from Justin Raphael. Pressure's starting to come on. Walsh is starting to make some moves, got to clear Preston Calvert and then chase after those leaders.
Well, Samantha Tan got that car from her teammate Nick Whitmer. Ryan down on pit lane with that driver.
Yeah, Nick Whitmer watching with a great deal of pride on your face as Samantha took that restart. Really good restart from her, but a lot of pressure to be in this position now.
I think it's tons of pressure on her, so she's going to have to tighten up her belts and kick it up a notch and keep it up there. She's going to have to make that car really wide here so nobody get by her.
Take us through your stint. What was it like working your way up towards the front?
I did a little screw up on the start. I was playing with my traction control. Didn't have really much experience in the rain with this car, so I want to play safe. So I put on traction control, and that bugged me out in corner 1, and that's where the green Classic Motorsports got by me. Right away, went back to dry mode, and I said, head down, let's go. And we just checked out. We had a battle. It was probably the most fun race I had with him.
What's the strategy the rest of the way then?
She's like I said, she's got to make her car really wide and nobody get by her. Just take it home, nice and clean. And apart from that, we're really happy. We're the fastest BMW out there. We got, again, the fastest time. STR Racing, great job with the cars. We did a couple of setups, and it's working out for us.
A lot of crossed fingers down here, guys, and certainly this team has high expectations. They're in for the full Sprint X calendar.
Well, she's doing a good job, able to maintain that lead, but the car that I'm watching is Alex Welch in that Audi, the R8 LMS, right on the back bumper now of Justin Raphael, trying to make the move, looking to the outside. Alex Welch does a lot of track days, a lot of driving around, goes to the outside. What a power move that is, Cal.
Yeah, but he kept it nice and safe. Justin Raphael tries to fight back, but he's a little bit wide there as they head through the S's. But, yeah, talking to James Sophonis this week, he said, I've got an ace up my sleeve in Alex Welch as my partner here this weekend. Watch him do some great things. The key he's going to have to do is just to be patient. He has the track position. He has the pace. Just don't force the issue with just over 10 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, he was about a second quicker than Samantha Tan. The previous lap gets around Justin Raphael for that second place. And so far, it looks like to be one of the fastest vehicles on the track right now as he's starting to run down Samantha Tan. And regardless of the outcome here, I got to think Samantha Tan has nothing to be ashamed of as Michael Camus go down to the inside. I think Randy Mueller behind the wheel now of that BMW trying to get around Preston Calvert. And that is for position between those two drivers.
Yeah, really tight there down into the brake zone. Really impressed with Samantha Tan, just showing a lot of poise here, hitting her marks. But she's got a lot more experience right behind her now in Alex Welch. Does he try and force it into the brake zone here as they head into turn 12? Thinks about it. Samantha covers him a little bit. She's in a little bit of an acute angle. Can she hang on the exit of turn 12 here? It's going to be tight there on the acceleration run. Really close there. Battle for the lead as we focus on the battle between Preston Calvert and the Three Machine. There it is. Samantha Tan hangs on to that lead. It's allowed Raphael to close in on the tail of the number 14 car in the third position still.
Well, Samantha Tan still holding off Alex Welch and just doing a superb job here. Welch down to the inside, trying to get the nose underneath her, but she's keeping her line nice and tight. Like her teammate said, Nick Whitmer has to make that BMW really wide, and she's doing a great job of it right now, Cal.
Yeah, she's compromising her entry a little bit, which is going to hurt her exit speed. Alex Welch jumps to the inside, brakes on for turn 20. This is for the lead. GMG to the front.
And Samantha Tan might actually lose that second position as well. I thought right there she needed to drop back in behind Alex Welch right away to not lose that second position. Now she looks down to the inside, not giving up here at all.
This is a great little battle. Yeah, she just went into that turn 19 at a very shallow angle. That cost her on the exit, and Alex just timed it perfectly and grabs the lead of this motor race.
Well, looking back at our fourth place car, Ray Mason in that Compass Racing McLaren doing a great job. Has a couple lap cars between him and the three leaders here, but battle on for that final podium here with only 8.5 minutes to go. Alex Welch leading in that GMG Audi R8 LMS GT4. Justin Raphael has done a superb job with his teammate giving him that car and really suffered in that pit stop with Steve McAleer leading every lap up into that pit stop.
But still a tremendous performance, and it's a learning curve. I mean, when you're used to running deep in the pack, you're suddenly given the lead or running up front. That's a lot of pressure on these drivers, and I think they're all doing a fantastic job of hanging on here.
Yeah, Samantha Tan trying to defend a little bit down to their inside. That is a lap car, so you don't want to fight with that car too much and lose the lead here. If it's faster, let it go. It's a lap car. It's not going to matter much. Just put your head down. You're in a podium position, and that would be huge for her and this team.
That would be huge. So the team just needs to communicate. Don't fight the number 3 car. They're a lap down. Just focus forward, keep hitting your marks. A podium is still possible.
I believe Harry Gottsecker in that number 69 center one's gotten around Ray Mason now, but we're still watching this battle for the lead. And now it looks like Samantha Tan's dropped about 4 to 5 car lengths back from second place, Justin Raphael.
She was doing a great job. I think this has to be her most impressive performance to date, running there in the 3rd position. But I tell you what, Justin Raphael has not given up on this chase for the lead. Whilst they're pushing hard, digging hard through turn 15, the stadium section, as I call it.
The last few segments, he was quicker than the leader, Alex Welch. So we'll see what happens when they get back to these new segment cams. Well, back under yellow here at Circuit of the Americas, Alex Welch leading in his Audi over Justin Raphael. Had a few cars that were stopped on track, just in some unsafe positions, have to get those cars removed. But Alex Welch driving back through the field after their pit stop into the lead. Down on pit lane, though, we have Ryan Marine with his teammate, James Safronis.
That's right, James Safronis, you and Alex Welch, you guys go back a little ways. I think you told me earlier this year you put this program together to get to drive together. Well, now you might be challenging for a race win. How good is that?
Well, Alex is a good friend, and we've known each other for a long time. And he's one of those guys that's under the radar. He's very talented, great at setup. So it's really been a pleasure to race with him, and I wanted him to come on board. I knew he would be very strong with the other AMs. So between the GMG guys setting up the car, support from CrowdStrike, 511 Tactical, Mobile One, all the guys that come together. We have 4 cars this weekend. I have comfort knowing that I have a great co-driver in Alex Welch. He made me breakfast this morning. How about that?
Not bad.
He's a good cook. You know, eggs, ham, avocado. This guy's, you know, he does it all. So we still have some time left, but I'm very proud of him, and I would race anywhere with him. He's a good friend.
Is this full course yellow good for you guys, or would you have rather it stayed green?
Obviously green. I mean, Alex was checking out. He's a kind of cool, calm, collected guy. He wanted to look forward. So, unfortunately, we're going to have a caution here, but I think he can hold it together. So let's hope we get going, and at least let's try and get this win. This will be nice after a long weekend.
Thanks very much.
It's using a golf term, they're ham and egging it then.
Yeah, ham and egg in it here, but well, we've had some great action here all race long. Here was that pass for the lead from Alex Welch.
Yeah, Samantha Tan did a tremendous job defending that lead position, but Alex just gets inside, and with him comes Justin Raphael. So 2 spots. Samantha Tan tries to look down at the inside in the brake zone for turn 1, thinks better of it. But these 3 run right astern as well, go back to the restart.
Well, still under safety car. Get the cars. Still have 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the race, and I got to think that they got a chance to get those cars cleared out, and we'll see if we can get back under green here. Down in the S's, so we might even see a green-white flag at the start of this, and then 1 lap going back to green here for the finish.
Pressure on everyone once again. Chance to process everything, reset, make sure you're ready to go.
Well, everybody working their way through now. Samantha Tan's going to be in full protection mode against Harry Gottsecker. Superb run for Aurora Strauss, your GTS AM leader. She's up into the 5th place, Cal.
What a day for ST Racing. 2 cars inside the top 5. Aurora's done a really nice job here this weekend. A strong qualifying performance yesterday, and the race was finished off with her teammate Al Carter. And now with the reset here, she may be able to challenge for a podium position even, but Gottsacker's got to look to try and get through that lap traffic and try and attack Samantha Tan.
Yeah, seeing the, I believe that's the Porsche Cayman of Kyle Marcelli and Fedani, I believe. I can't really tell. I think they had that yellow Cayman, and with the minute 24 to go on this race, there's just no way we can get back under green, Cal.
That's such a shame. I thought everywhere the track was in great shape. Suddenly another problem out there.
Yeah, unfortunately there, that Nissan Titan safety truck was blocking the way a little bit. Couldn't quite see who that was, but I believe the yellow came in of Kyle Marcelli and Fedani. See here with our BMW safety lights, they usually would go out right here if they're going to go green, and I don't think there's enough time. Only 49 seconds to go on that. And getting the word from race control, it will be checkered flag. That will be the race results, and they will finish as they run, which is very unfortunate, but I got to think for a couple of folks it might even be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's not to detract from some great performances there. Alex Welch got the job done. James Safrona said he's my man, and he brought it home for him. And Justin Raphael, he's going to be really pumped up to finish on the podium with he and McAleer. Samantha Tan, what a job she did, withstanding the pressure, holding on that lead for an extraordinary amount of time. Big day for that race team.
It looks like they're going to go ahead and just go right down into pit lane as well, ending the session as the previous lap. They still have the same data. Don't need to cross the line again to get that checkered flag, so that does end the race. It will be Alex Welch and his teammate James Safronis, your race winners here today. Going back to the field and looking at some notables there, you got to go back to 19th for Tony Gaples, Michael Cooper, and unfortunate for Lawson Aschenbach.
Got 13 laps on the board, though, so he'll score points. Ian James right now has 10 laps. The leaders have 20, so if they bring him a pit lane, I'm not sure if they'll get scored for a 21st lap. That could be a huge break for Ian James and that Panos team to actually get some points out of this race.
And it would be the first points they would get here this weekend, not scoring any points yesterday. And 13 points, like you mentioned, for Pilgrim, and 11 for Pavin, so he will get some points. Well, taking a look at our finishing order here today. Once again, the teammate Alex Welch taking the win in that number 14 Audi. Justin Raphael in the BMW was second. Superb drive from Samantha Tan in third. Harry Gottsecker doing it all by himself in fourth. Ray Mason, top 5 run for that McLaren. Scott Maxwell, your race winner yesterday, able to get 6th today. Shane Lewis in that 74 Racing Machine in 7th. Adam Mirzon in 8th. Darren Jorgensen in 9th, and Elise Sabo. Good run for them, rebuilding that car in 10th.
Yeah, Scott Maxwell, they look threatening. I think if we'd seen a bit more green flag action, podium could have been potential there for the team that won here yesterday.
That finishes up for our GTS Pro-Am category as we try to see if we can get a word with our race winners as we look at our GTS Sprint X Am results. It is Aurora Strauss. Good day for ST Race. Thank you mentioned Cal. Drew Stavely. Not too shabby, actually. 3 wins and now a second place finish. Toby Grahovic in 3rd. Hedlund in 4th. Marco Radicic, top 5 for him in that BMW. Sean Gibbons, Derek DeBoer in 6th place.
Great rebound for Mike Hedlund there to get a top 5 finish starting at the back after the early incident yesterday.
Cool. Marion Marine down on pit lane with our race winners.
Tell you what, it's a frantic victory lane here in the GMG side of things. It is the first North American win for the Audi, the GT4 version of the Audi. Pretty cool stuff.
Come in here, buddy.
James, we were talking there just a moment ago, and you were saying you weren't sure that caution was what you wanted. Well, worked out okay, didn't it?
Well, I had faith that Alex was going to bring it home either way, and that's what you want in a co-driver. And actually, you know, like I said earlier, he's a great friend. What a great drive to get through the field cleanly and do it decisively, and then he was checking out. So I know he's a racer like I am. We wanted to go to the distance, but hey, first win together in professional racing. He's the one reason why we ran Audi 7 years ago, and he's a big part of why we're back.
Well, let's talk about your stint then, Alex. You had to get it done out there on track. Take us through the pass that ultimately led to the win.
Yeah, you know, James obviously put it in a position where we had a chance. You know, for me, it was just put my head down, focus. We knew where the car was stronger than them. Seems like the brakes, they have a little power on us. Coming out of the corners, I just had to you know, do a little deep and get on second gear in a turn I normally never go down to second, but I just got to run. And yeah, I mean, like James said, you know, it's a team effort. The team obviously had some challenges last night with some other cars, and they worked all night. Got our car ready as well, and this is really for them and James. We're good friends outside of racing, and it's just really, really special to do it this way.
Fantastic job. Congratulations to you both.
Thanks.
Well, superb drive for that. And he mentioned that Alex Welch was the first one to bring the Audi GT3 variant of the R8 in here to America to run in Pirelli World Challenge competition.
Well, racing sometimes all about chemistry. They've got a great group there. There's a lot of passion with what they do. Some great friendships, and that makes it even more special, as the boys said.
Well, a lot of really busy down there on pit lane. I think a lot of folks weren't quite ready for the interviews there as they get everything going for that. But once again, congratulations to Alex Welch as well as James DeFranis getting the overall win here today as we get down to pit lane with our GTS Am winners.
That's right, Aurora Strauss here. Al Carter also busy celebrating, but we'll start with you, Aurora. Big weekend for you. Started with Good Morning America. You had the Girl Scouts on site, and you cap it off with a win.
This might be one of the best weekends of my life. I can't thank Samantha Tan Racing enough. I would not have changed anything about that car. The BMW performed flawlessly. It's the power of the Shard Wheel BMW. I just can't, I could not have done anything differently if I had tried.
And Al wasn't even supposed to be with you, but you have him here, and you get to celebrate.
He wasn't, and he totally kicked ass this weekend. I'm so lucky to have a co-driver like him. We drove together at Daytona a couple months ago, and it's nice to continue that relationship with the same person. And to see Stephen McAleer and Justin Raphael on the podium with me, who I've known for upwards of, 10 years, this is a pretty special moment for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, great job by her, and just a great job by that team as well. Let's take a quick look at our GTS points. And Cal, just some movers and shakers and some alignments. It's the beginning of the season. Still got a long way to go.
Yeah, there certainly is. And for Lawson Aschenbach, great job by that team getting the car fixed so he could actually get back out there and get the car back out there, get Pilgrim in the car and score some points here today. So everyone were dodging bullets throughout the course of this weekend. The conditions today certainly played a little bit of havoc in the early laps, but even so, there was some superb driving as well, as we saw there with the podium finishes.
I got a quick look at our GTS Am points as well, but it is the VP Fuel Hard Charger of the Race Award. How about picking up 19 spots? Your GTS Am winner, Aurora Strauss. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, she has so much poise. Very exciting moment for her there to celebrate the victory with Al Carter. A lot of experience with Al and a great team. What a day for that team.
Yeah, it was. And talk about that team, Samantha Tan with Ryan Marine now.
Busy weekend for you, Samantha. Not just your racing, but your team as a whole. But we'll start with you. You got out there and you were leading for a good portion of that race. How much fun was that stint?
It was so much fun. You know, there's a little bit of pressure, but oh my God, thank you to Nick for keeping it up there. I'm so proud of him. Thank you to my team for making the car as great as it was. It was a lot of fun, and I'm so happy that we got third place today.
And for the team, I mean, you had a lot going on, good results all across the board. How proud are you of what you've built?
So proud. I'm so happy to be here, and I can't wait till the next weekend because we're going to bring home pole.
We'll see you there.
She gained a lot of confidence today.
Yeah, she absolutely did, and a lot of great support behind her and this great team. Well, she mentioned pole at the next race, and we're looking forward to that at Virginia International Raceway when Pirelli Challenge returns back last weekend of April. Going to be exciting stuff there. Can't wait for that race, Cal.
Well, we go from one superb facility here at COTA to another in VIR. The picturesque setting there, very challenging as well. It has high-speed S's. A lot of action will be there for sure.
Well, that's going to wrap up things here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas for Circuit of the Americas. For Calvin, Ryan, and our entire CBS Sport Network crew, I'm Jeff Lepper. In association with WC Vision, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Come on, fucking call.
Let's take a quick look here at the Pirelli storylines, Cal.
Oh, crap.